Welcome everyone to a brand new video, a brand new blog. Thank you so much for the time you spent watching my videos. I recommend you also watch videos from 3-4 months ago. In the very near future, I will be making videos that relate to Eurasia or Europe. And this one is one of them. To those who have subscribed, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that we are growing. Also, thank you very much to the ones that have left comments on the videos. Keep doing that, my friends. I do appreciate your support. So let's begin with today's topic. Checkmate tells Russia to the international world. In the Black Sea, there has been a lot of international movements. Countries like England, the USA, Latvia, Poland, Ukraine have been stirring the waters of the Black Sea. This action has been happening several years now, but especially in the last months, between 2020, mid-2020 to today's date, all the action taking place in the Black Sea have to do with the Nord Stream 2. This is the second gas and oil stream that Russia has, that Russia and countries around it have built together. The Nord Stream will serve countries in Europe and Eurasia. US and NATO members doesn't want this to get built, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop it. I mean, it's practically built. But let's see what else it says. Ukraine, Poland, and Lithuania charges large amounts of money to Russia for this petroleum or natural gas to go through their borders or to their territory. At the same time, the governments of these countries seek to destabilize the economy in the Russian government. Let me also state that these countries' infrastructure would freeze during winter without the Russian gas and the petroleum. They run everything with the natural gas and Russia and Siberian petroleum. So I really don't understand why these small nations who once were part of Russia now have chosen to side with the UN. I mean, they're probably getting a lot of money by doing it. The new oil and gas ducts will go from Russia straight to Germany, skipping those other nations. So now these nations are worried. Poland and Ukraine have not been the best neighbors to Russia, taking alliance with the UN. And we know how the UN has so many planes, so many troops, so many tanks, all sorts of long distance launched weapons right at the border of Ukraine, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia. All those countries that used to be part of Russia, of the Soviet Union, now they grew some. NATO and UN destabilize the economy that Russia is building. So it has been 5 years since the consortium of energy companies agreed in the summer of 2015 to build a second pipeline route to carry gas from Russia to Germany under the Baltic Sea. So construction of the Nord Stream 2 route is nearly completed. It's 96% completed. By some counts, among politicians and activists in Europe and United States, they're saying that there's a risk of environmental problems, but I mean, that's the thing about petroleum. there's always that risk, and it hasn't stopped other nations from doing it. So, are we really going to make that exception with Russia only because it's Russia and because it's taking the market from the U.S. because the U.S. wants the European market, and the European market, it's a lot of money, but at the same time, if the European nations are smart, the market, the Russian market, or the Russian pipes helps them. It's more beneficial to them because, well, Russia will give a lower price trying to steal the market from the US. Also, either way would be less costly to the European nations because it's right there. I mean, the pipe is already there. All they have to say, I want to start business with you, and then the valves will be open, and then that country will be able to get natural gas and petroleum. I mean, at a lower price, and there won't be that problem where, if, let's say, the weather doesn't cooperate and those large shipments of oil coming from the US may get trapped somewhere for petroleum shortage to heat their house and everything else. Well, cook and all the other essentials that we have in our everyday lives. And, well, petroleum, right, it runs the nation. So there's many positive things. This European Union nations, countries, partnering with Russia, but the U.S. is telling them, you're gonna be too reliant on Russia. But at the same time, do you want to be too reliant on the U.S.? We all have learned within the last 4 years that the U.S. doesn't have any friends. Don't do what they want or what they ask you, they will sanction you at no problem without thinking it twice. On the pipeline was at a standstill for a year back in 2015 as companies working on the project pulled out under the pressure of sanctions from the US. That in 2015, so 6 years later, the pipeline is almost completed at 96%. There is 1,230 kilometers or 764 mile pipeline that will bring natural gas from Russia, Siberian gas fields to Germany, Europe's biggest economy. The European partners have opposed the project, warning Berlin will become too reliant on Russia for energy. So the first pipeline, it's already providing some gas to Germany. With this pipeline, they will double the amount of energy that Germany receives from Russia. The system is designed to deliver up to 55 billion cubic meters or 1,942 trillion cubic feet per year. Once Nord Stream 2 will strip Ukraine of 55 million cubic meters per day of transit flow through the first pipeline. So Russia's Turk Stream pipeline under the Black Sea will divert another 30 to 40 million cubic meters per day. Gazprom will prioritize its own pipelines. If the system is not used regularly, it will have to be severely downsized. So that's what Ukraine and Poland are afraid of. But Russia will certainly, continue running it. But the problem is that Poland and the Ukraine are hostile. They have been hostile for a long time, since 2014. So, they're going to have to talk things out. So, let's continue. Something that has grabbed my attention is how Germany has come up with a package guaranteed for Ukraine. Part of the package is prolonging the current gas agreement between Russia and Ukraine. Germany is also putting on the table the possibility to apply sanctions on Russia if it tries to use energy as a political weapon. Dmitry Peskov, press secretary of the president of Russia, said that Germany guarantees must be discussed with Russia. It also said that Ukraine must offer assurance that it will fulfill its part and stop being so hostile against Russia. Right? A post from Poland says that in the face of this political crisis, they feel abandoned. The first gas pipeline also passes through their territory. Now that Nord Stream 2 is almost also, fears Russia will close the valves of gas at the source. The European Union has said that any treaty between Kiev will have to be discussed with the 27 members of the European Union. And let's remember, Germany is not part of the European Union. Political scientists announced that this is good news for Russia, especially for all the action taken to prevent the gas pipelines from being carried out. Now, the only thing left for the United States is trying to set conditions to not look defeated on the world stage. Right? A short interview from President Biden saying that there's nothing that can be done, but there should be some conditions to make sure that Ukraine, Poland, Latvia, and all those other nations that do rely on gas, on the natural gas coming from Siberia, they will continue to receive it. And I don't think there is a problem, but the only problem is that these nations are being hostile against Russia, and I think they're going to have to sit down, talk, and say, hey guys, cut it out. There's nothing you guys can do to us to hurt us. You're just hurting yourself. And these presidents are going to have to start to understand that. I think the United States will have much more influence on those nations, because now have understood that promises the US was giving them, it will not happen. They're going to have to relax, behave themselves, and get along with their big brother Russia. Lose an incredible amount of income from Russia they were getting paid, and they were almost like ripping off Russia to allow that gas to continue. Meanwhile, these countries benefited from those pipelines, like I said, to run their nation. So forcing Russia to pay large amount of money, hostility that they started against Russia, forced Russia to build a new pipeline. And then now they're like using our energy. Well, they caused those worries. They caused those extra worries to themselves. It is, we are nearing the end of the video, and this information I'm going to give you, it's very important. This is something that Russia has never done before, and I want to tell you about an event that has not happened before in the history of Russia. Russia has filed a lawsuit against Ukraine before the European Court of Human Rights, accuses Ukraine of killing and torturing civilians during the violent change of government back on February 2014. Also, in the events of the military operations in eastern Ukraine. The Kremlin also blames Kiev for the international burning of the trade union house in Odessa, where nearly 50 people died. The lawsuit also speaks of the persecution of the media as journalists. The persecution of media and journalists, the Russian businesses, companies, and Russian-speaking people. Kiev is also giving responsibility for the downing of flight M17 in the province of Donetsk. This was also back in 2014. Let us remember that there are close to 300 people on that plane. The Russian foreign minister asked the European Union courts to act impartially, to not politicize the trial. My friends, this is we have reached the end of this video. Thank you so much for reaching this point on that video, and once again I want to thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave a comment and leave a like or a dislike depending how you feel about this video. Thank you so much. Have yourself a great day, and don't forget to help someone in your community, as you may be the only one who does. Thank you so much for your time, and until next video, my friends. Ciao, ciao for now.